What's up, YouTube? Happy Monday. Doing the weekly recap from last week because I had a concert to go to on Saturday and Sunday was just kind of crazy. I don't know. And I just didn't have time. So, and let me preface this by saying I had a busy week. Didn't make a ton of money because I ran a 40% off sale in the Etsy shop for like 6 days, I think, for Memorial Day. Honestly, I just wanted to clear out a ton of inventory. I have too much crap. I have too much that's been sitting in a bin, not getting any attention, no interest. And I'm like, all right, well, I just got to clear some of this out. And thankfully, learned a lot of things from this sale. First, thankfully, it did clear out some things that had been sitting for a very long time. Like, I'm talking since I started this 4 years ago in March. So I'm working into my fourth year. Anyways, for the first time, well, I can't say that. We had a lot of lessons that we learned when we first started this. So shipping was a huge one that you had to learn some lessons with. But for the past couple of years, obviously, we've gotten the shipping on lock. But for the first time since I really started, I lost money on a couple items. But I'm okay with it because, quite honestly, two of these items, I've had them forever. They're huge. Nobody wanted them because it took for a lot to ship them because they're fragile, like a big console bowl. So no one really wanted to mess with that. Then $13 items before you start the sale, because unless you're okay with making $3, $4, and honestly, I'm okay with doing it this past time, but I don't know that I would do that again. I don't think it's worth the time or the shipping materials. Again, time and shipping. And when I ran this sale, a lot of times I'll just choose USPS because it's easier if I'm going up there to drop off one or two packages. I'm just going to put all of them there unless it's like a really large cost discrepancy between FedEx, UPS, and the postal system. But I will tell you what, I found the cheapest shipping because I'll be danged if I'm going to lose money on anything like that. Came close. I don't think I lost anything on shipping except for that darn Paden City console bowl. What else? Really? That's it? eBay was quiet, so there's not going to be any recap for eBay. What the hell, eBay? Can we get it together? Speaking of which, I did do a shop. I set up a store on eBay, which means I'm going to be paying $8 a month for this service, because with the cross lister, I've gotten past my $250 free listing thing, and you have to pay 35 cents per insertion fee. So Etsy's 20, eBay is 35 cents. Because why give eBay any more money? Not doing it. So the other one is Facebook. Had a couple Facebook sales, which is cool. So let's get started. So first one, sold a set of Norwegian cookbooks. They went out to California, made $15 on that. Then we have a 1940 Superior milk bottle, like a little quart bottle. And that, funny, not really funny, that came from Ohio. It came from an Ohio auction, Burns Auctions, whom I love so much. And it went back to Ohio. Side note, we find it quite funny that sometimes when we're traveling, we find these things for sale and we get them and we bring them back, and then they sell and they go right back to where we found them, which is weird, like the same region. So anyways, onward. Wedgwood Primrose Pagoda. That was an Illinois. Where's my money? Where's my money thing on this? That is apparently in the wind. I made, I believe, $30 on that thing. And it went to, where did you go? Illinois. Next up, we had the mid-century modern to 70s gold medal eagle. That thing was 17 inches wingspan, not perfect. And that went to Delaware, but still managed to make $22.80. Sold a sombrero ashtray. That went somewhere in North Carolina and made $8.85 on that. Had a little flat wooden duck, like, it's not big, but it's skinny, and it would sit on a mantle, I guess. And that went to Connecticut, and we made $7.73. Had a repeat buyer come back. She got a little teeny Enesco bunny, Royal Worcester herb plates, 2 of them, which we got for free a long time ago. So, yay. A blonde wood turned vase, and the funny thing is that's been sitting in my apartment since I started because I liked it, but I still listed it onward and upward. She'll enjoy it. Then a Royal Worcester sugar and creamer, and these things are teeny tiny, like super teeny tiny. Then she messaged me and wanted to know if a little hiking boot planter was watertight. It was. But she had made the purchase before, so I just packed it up, messaged her, told her that I was going to keep like $10 for that out of the shipping cost before I refunded her, and she was fine with that. So $10 for the boot, and then $37.95 for the other stuff. Good to go. Next we have an Art Deco creamer. Honestly, it looked like something from the 80s by Unger and Schilde. Not sure I'm pronouncing that right. It's German or Austrian company. That went to Florida, and we made $6.53. I'm all right with that because that is actually one of the very first pieces we ever got from an auction, a local auction. Had a chip on the spout, been sitting forever, so yay. Again, that's why I wanted to run this sale. I just wanted to clear out some of this stuff that's been sitting and sitting and sitting. Then we have an Art Deco boudoir lamp. I got that thing for $1 in an online auction, and I think I paid maybe $11, $10 for shipping. And we rewired it because I wanted to learn how to rewire a lamp. We have a ton of them, and I want to do that. And so the rewire kit probably was like $8. And that thing went to Kentucky, and so we made $18.36. Honestly, all told, probably didn't make 18 just based on it's a new socket and a new wire. So $10, $11, I recouped my cost out of it, and it was a learning experience. That went out to Kentucky. Then on our road trip to Pennsylvania last year, honestly, it seems like a million years ago, but it was only last year. We found a poodle yard art. Now, it's not my jam, but I couldn't pass it up because my grandmother, who is the reason why I do this, she had a bunch of these wooden yard art things in the yard at the store and by the house, and I just was like, oh, something my grandma had, so I had to get it. And that went to Georgia, and I think we paid $1 for it or something, so we made $16 on it. Then I had a customer he was a repeat customer, and he had purchased a pipe. Where is that? A little pipe. A vintage pipe that was made in London, like briarwood. But it was a reject, so apparently it wasn't high enough standard for the company that generally did this, sold these, whatever company that is. So I had it priced. I actually had listed it for someone else, and they took too long to make a decision on purchasing, and this guy swooped it. He got it, and we made $11.50 on that. So he bought that first. The stuff wasn't even delivered when he came back and bought some more stuff. So technically he's a repeat buyer. Where are you? He bought 2 wood book stands and a vintage Peking opera figure. It's got little bristles on the bottom of it, and they put the figure on a tray and tap the tray, and with the bristles it would dance and move across the tray. Super cool. I have a bunch of them, but so that's the first one of those that I've sold. Happy day. And between all of those, made $55.88. So that was nice, because honestly it was a really low week because of the sales. Then had another one of the unicorn cloisonne boxes, the little pill boxes. Had 2 burgundy left. They purchased one of the burgundy boxes, and that was a $13.53 profit, and went to Virginia. Then lost money on this sucker, which, again, you learn. I learned. I didn't deactivate these or adjust the prices, because I'd rather, honestly, I don't want to raise the price if someone buys it. I'd rather just deactivate it, wait for the sale to be over, and then put it back in the shop at the cost I had it, which was like $12 or something like that. So she got that sucker, and of course, I also want to say a lot of this stuff went out to the West Coast, which also was cutting into profits. So she got 3 pieces. It was a bowl, a cup, and a little saucer, and they weren't in great shape, of course. What was the Vista? I think the pattern was Vista. And so went out to Oregon. I think maybe we made $10, $8. No, not even that. I think we made $3.50. Went to Washington State. I guess I shouldn't say lost money. It didn't come out of my pocket, right? So we just didn't make anything. We didn't make anything on the item. We didn't make anything on the shipping. There was just nothing. It was just all the way to the wall. Live and learn. Then that adorable little unicorn figure, the Smidgens, that went to Florida for $16.69. That's what we made on that. Then I had a linen beefeater towel or wall hanging showing the London Guards. Picked that up on the way to Virginia Beach / Norfolk last year. Was that last year too? No, I think that was the year before. I don't even remember. Time. Slip in. I'm not going to sing for you. All right, next. That went to Illinois, made $14 on that. I believe I picked it up for 10 or 8, somewhere up in North Carolina near the Virginia border. Then we found a Robert McCandless asymmetrical vase down near where my mom lives, near the beach, and so we didn't pay any shipping on that, and that went to Arizona, made $13.89 on that. Big. It is big. It's heavy. I'm glad it's out of my bins. Then we had a Lennox candlestick holders. They went to New York, and we made $20. We just picked those up on our last trip on a trip to Charleston to see 2 feet. And then Celtic style candle holder, candelabra. Like, I've had these suckers since the very first auction pickup here ever. So going on 4 years, and no one seems to be interested in them. Who knows? So I have 2 of them. 1 sold, went to Tennessee, made $11.40. Then teeny tiny little Chinese mudmen bonsai figurines. I sold them as a pair. They went to Minnesota, made $15.18. Then we had the milk glass, 1870s milk glass fish-shaped dish. It's called clam broth. I guess the color of the milk glass that's what it is. And you know, they say the older the milk glass, you hold it up to the light, and if you can see that fire on the edges, that dates it to really old, not just vintage, but antique. And this most certainly was antique. Super cool. But again, had it forever. Glad it's going to its new home. Out to Washington State, made $14. Then a Majolica leaf dish, a little green leaf dish, made $18 on that. It went to Minnesota. Then a Lefton hand-painted Madonna bust. They're low-fired, and they are almost as bad as chalkware in how easy they are to chip and break. So again, glad it's out of the bins. Made $8 and it went somewhere in North Carolina. A Queen Mary juicer by Anchor Hawking, that went to Virginia, made $4.64. Another item that's been sitting there, clear glass. Nobody really likes it anymore, so good. Someone's gonna enjoy it. Unless they turn around and give a crappy review, and then it's gonna piss me off. But we'll cross that bridge if it happens. Then we had an antique porcelain shaving cup with gold trim, shave mug. Found that locally, have had it for a minute, and it went to Colorado, made $11.19. Sold the last Bombay nautical sailing tablecloth. That went to Virginia, made $7.31. Then, super cool, Alice in Wonderland tray, a rectangular tray. It went to Ohio, which is where it came from, which is funny. Burns auction. Again, went right back to Ohio where we got it. $26.47. She got it for a gift for her daughter at Christmas. So already left a review. Super happy. Yay. Then I had a rumrill pottery planter in the shape of like a melon, like a gourd, I guess. And it was white on the outside and blue on the interior. And I just thought it was super cool. So I've been using it here at the house for holding a house plant. And it sold finally. Had it for a couple of years. It went out to California. Made $20.78. Sold the last mid-century modern bubble glass candle holder, the one with the wonky foot. He's super stoked with it. Left a nice review already. Made $33.43 on that. Another thing large and heavy out of the bins. Then the best sale I had this week was a crystal ashtray. Nice, solid crystal, beautiful, beautiful, with a sterling silver rim with flowers embossed into it. And I made $71.39, and that went to Massachusetts. That's mostly all profit, really, because I picked it up locally from an auction house. So, woohoo! Excellent. Then, another local auction house pickup, a Fitz and Floyd shell platter. This sucker was big. It was like 13 inches across. Made $25 on it, and it went out to Washington State. And that wraps it up for Etsy. So even with the sale, it was really quiet, which kind of sucks, but you know, graduations, summer vacations, all that stuff comes into play time of the year, which is why places run these sales, because it's usually when buyers are focused on other things, and they'll only get it if it's a super good deal. All right. So again, no eBay, so on to Facebook. Sold a alabaster bird trinket dish for $50 and a brass and enamel basket for $10. This went to the same girl. So cute. She messaged me about the basket, and then I got a message like the next day for the bird trinket dish, and I'm like, yeah, it's available. And then she's like, the day she was coming to pick it up, she's like, I think I'm messaging you about two things. So it was her, and I got both of them, gave them to her. Had a little something that I wasn't sure what it was. It was glass. Some people said it was Murano, and it was not Murano. I don't know what the heck. It looked like it should have been a bell, but it wasn't. So I was just gonna like donate it. I just said, do you like this? She's like, I love it. So I gave it to her for free. Then the last of the two uranium glass plates went to the same buyer who bought the first three, somewhere in North Carolina. Made $25 on those. Then I sold a Trimont teacup for $12, and it was imperfect, and teacups usually sit forever, so hallelujah, got a teacup sale. And she actually uses them. She was telling me, she's like, it's great, I'm right-handed, the chip is over here on this side. I'm like, that's a silver cloud or a silver lining person. I like it. All right, next up, pair of French onion Crocs for $14. This lady bought them as a gift for someone who had just started cooking and thought it was a neat little gift for a college student. I agree. Then I had a metric ton of planters that I really wasn't going to use because some plants just don't like certain planters. I don't know why, but they just die in them. So I had a bunch of them stashed. They were making it impossible to find anything, so I sold them for 30 bucks. Whatever. Then last one, shower curtain and hooks for 20 bucks. And that wraps it up. Y'all have a good week, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.